and this is with regards to what's exactly happening in the global markets. How is Sensex looking to you? What sort of targets, next set of targets that you have for Sensex?
So yes, Cheryl, I think it's a good pause for the indices finally that we've halted the pace of the steep rally in the last 4 to 5 days. So I think even if the market digests the kind of gains we've seen in the last 1 week, possibly over the next 3 to 4 days, that could be termed as a healthy consolidation for the index. Now 58,000 remains to be a pivot for Sensex, and I think on the upside we could be heading towards maybe a 58,500, 58,800. That would be the upside which I would be looking out for. That also coincides with a gap which has been created for Sensex from the May month, when the indices had managed to break below a downward trend and start off in this gap mode. So generally gaps tend to be filled, and I think for Sensex this gap would be filled closer to 58,800.
All right, there you have it. And like you've said in the past as well, Kunal, it's good that you're seeing a little bit of consolidation, and that bodes well for the future. But gentlemen, it's time to start taking viewer queries, and we've got several that have already piled up. If you're tuning in for the first time, and this is for you, viewer, then do send us a message on any one of our social media platforms, or indeed on the WhatsApp number, and tell us your name, tell us a stock that you'd like to know about, and if you've bought it, tell us what level you bought it at and how long you'd like to hold it for. We've got Mr. Kunkle, who's got the first question today, and he's asking about NMDC, which he's bought at levels of 167. His expected time frame to hold this, Kunal, is the next 6 to 9 months. He's asking what the view here is.
So I would probably be of the belief that I think NMDC would take a lot of time to come back to your cost price of 167, and I think it may not be the best time to try and average the stock at current levels as well. So I understand that the stock has corrected very sharply from its previous 52-week highs, but then the chart patterns and the way the prices have shaped up in the last 1-2 weeks doesn't really give a major confidence that the stock has formed a near to medium term bottom at current levels. So I would suggest a wait out period for NMDC, and assuming if the stock drops below that 100 mark, say possibly comes closer to that 95 zone, that could be a point where you can look to average.
All right, this one is coming in from Dheeraj, and Dheeraj wants to know about paper stocks like JK Paper, Westco Paper Mill or Andhra Paper. Out of the paper stocks, Rajesh, which one would you recommend for the longer term, say for about a 5 years period? And does it make sense to actually enter paper stocks right now, because seeing a lot of them rally with especially after JK Paper's numbers?
You said it right, Cheryl. Paper stocks have run up quite a lot, but there were various reasons for that. One, they have not performed in the entire rally. Two, the numbers have been good. And three, with the plastic ban and all, paper consumption is going to go up. Schools being reopened, again, that would be a trigger. So these are some of the factors which should be considered when you are investing in a paper stock. And one should always remember they consider it for a very long period of time when they go into consolidation. Out of all the stocks, if I have to select one, I would go with West Coast Paper. The company has its own 340,000 MTPA's capacity, and again it has a 75% holding in Andhra Paper that has a 220 MTPA capacity. So that makes it a very large capacity. They have all the raw materials on the internal side, maximum of them. The capacity expansion has almost been done. Debt is being reduced. So everything goes in favor of West Coast Paper, and the valuations are also good. So I would say if somebody is looking to invest in paper stock, West Coast will be the first choice.
It's a comprehensive view on the paper space. We've got a question from Vijay. He's writing in from Chennai, and he's asking about Titan. Kunal, he's got the 2,350 call at 72.8. He's asking if we should hold or exit.
2,350 you said, right?
2,350, yes.
So I think you can continue to hold. The stock is, I think, in the money with respect to your option strike. Now, I'm not sure what exactly is the current value of this 2,350 call, but then because the fact that the stock is in the money, it's trading above the major resistances, 200-day moving average for itself, and the trend in the last 1 month have been very strong for Titan. So going into the next couple of weeks, I think there should be a decent upside for Titan, and I think in that regards, the option would probably behave more or less in sync with how a future behaves when it typically tends to get in the money. So I would suggest a hold.
Okay, this one is coming in from Shivang, and Shivang has said that thanks to the team at Buy Now Sell Now, his portfolio is healthy and stable, and we are very glad to know that, Shivang. Shivang is saying that he's bought Dr. Reddys at a price of 4,650 rupees per share. About 55 shares he's purchased of this particular counter. He wants to know what should he do right now. Kunal, should he average or just continue to hold on to it?
See, I think you can continue to hold on to it. My sense, I think the last 1 week when the results had actually come out for Dr. Reddy, that's where the stock had started to get into a correction phase. Possibly over the next 2 weeks, the stock may try and absorb as much all the negativity surrounding this. And once the selling pressure is over, that's where I believe that the stock would restart a strong uptrend for itself. So the pharma stocks is getting very, very polarized. You have just two names as of now which are looking very strong, the likes of Sun Pharma and Cipla. But I think Dr. Reddy should make a comeback eventually. So I think not at current levels, but possibly another couple of weeks, if the stock gets into a time-wise correction, that could be a good point where you can look to average.
All right, Chitra has got the next question. She's writing in from Bengaluru and asking about Supreme Industries. Rajesh, this one's for you. Bought at levels of 1,833 and she's asking for a medium-term view.
One will continue to hold. The numbers have been good. The company is doing well. The plastic furniture they make is also doing well. It's just because of the market conditions that the stock have corrected. I think for a medium to longer term horizon, it's a good hold. And if it corrects for maybe 5 to 10% more from current market price for any reason whatsoever, one can even add.
Okay, this next one that I have is coming in from Neha Toteja. And Kunal, this one is for you. She's writing to us from Bangalore. And she wants to know whether she should average Lux Industries and Rupa right now with a 3 to 6 months view. She's saying both are down about 30% from our acquisition price.
So I would suggest to probably look to average Rupa. I think that could be a slightly better stock relatively, because Rupa is one stock which is not as much prone to volatility as compared to Lux Industries. So I think that could probably turn out to be a better play. So if you are a slightly risk-averse individual, then I would probably prefer Rupa. But then I think, if I'm not wrong, the other stocks like Page Industries, I think has been hitting a life high for itself, if I'm not wrong, at that 48,000 or 49,000 plus levels for itself. So a much better momentum alternative could be Page Industries.
All right. We've got Datta Gadve who's writing in and who's asking about Coal India for the short term. Kunal, he's looking for a target for the short term and whether or not he should initiate a trade in Coal India. What's the view?
Well, I would suggest a yes for Coal India. In fact, last 2 weeks I've been suggesting a buy on Coal India, because my thesis is that the stock would probably start a very strong uptrend for itself, something which we've not seen for the stock at least over the last 2 years. The patterns on the prices have confirmed a breakout. The volumes have made a comeback for itself. So there are a lot many positives for Coal India at current levels than what was maybe over the last 2 years. So purely based on the price aspect and the recent momentum, I would suggest a buy on Coal India.
Okay, this one is coming from Vincent Sundar, and Vincent is 64 years old. He's mentioned that he's not retired. He's a long-term investor. He's accumulated about 7,500 shares of BEL in the last 5 months, average price of around 243 rupees per share. It's 5% of his portfolio. Now he wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to it, add or book some profit. What's your take on this one, Rajesh? BEL, 5% of his portfolio consists of this one. What should he do now?
See, for him, I would say it's more than enough for one's portfolio to be in one stock, 5%, that's it. But for other viewers who are listening to viewing us, I would say it's a buy call from our side. Order book is good. The numbers have been decent, I would say, in the recent 2-3 quarters. And not to forget, the company has called a board meeting for a bonus. So that again makes this stock attractive. So longer term horizon, it's very good. Government's focus on defense and all is going in the company's favor. I would say add on dips for viewers, but for this gentleman, since it's already having 5%, I would say continue to hold.
Rajesh, any possibility of a view on Dhanuka Ventures Limited? We've got Mr. Parsi who's writing in from Bengaluru. I believe it is a company with a market cap of only about 700 odd crore rupees. Should he buy? He's asking if we should start investing slowly in this counter.
Is it for me?
Yes, Rajesh, this one's for you.
It's a very good company, I would say. It's trading at a huge discount to its intrinsic value. They are into plastic manufacturing. They have 2-3 subsidiaries. Overseas subsidiaries, I would say, they are doing very well, and the valuations are very attractive. I won't be surprised if it gives 100% return in the period of 2-3 years. So every dip should be taken as an opportunity to buy. But I would again add that this is not a kind of counter where trading opportunities are there. One has to carry this for a very long period of time.
This is from Mukil. He's writing to us from Bangalore, Kunal, and he's bought AB Capital 1,500 shares at a price of 108 rupees per share. He wants to know firstly whether can he hold on to this particular counter, and also what would be the next immediate target that he needs to eye for AB Capital.
So I think yes, for the first part of your question, you should look to hold on to the stock. And for the second part, I believe short-term traders could look out for 120 as a target. So I think last week I'd given a buy on AB Capital with 110 as an immediate target. The stock is just hovering closer to that 109, 108 mark for itself. So I think it's very close to the first target which I had set up for the stock price. Now I believe from current levels, we could be looking at the next set of targets closer to 120 for AB Capital. So if you've bought, then you can continue to hold on for that kind of a target range.
Okay. We've got a lot of people who are asking why we are not reacting or seeing messages. Unfortunately, there are too many to read all of them. So we will, however, try. I don't know who this is. We've got a viewer who's asking about BHEL, 70,000 shares bought at an average price of 54. Should you wait for a good up move in a short time? Missed the earlier opportunity to book at 80 about 6 months ago. Have made intermittent profits of about 10 lakh in 3 years. This is a question for you, Kunal. What should he do with this?
See, I think we should continue to hold. I think BHEL is trying to make a comeback for itself. What excites me about the patterns for BHEL is after a long time, the stock has formed a bullish engulfing pattern on the monthly charts. So I think if I'm not wrong, the last time the stock had shown some similar kind of pattern was in September 2020, and we've seen what has happened to BHEL from those sub 30 levels. And then the latest one was, I think, in August 2021. So possibly this is the third time we are seeing in the last 3 years that the stock has formed such a kind of a bullish engulfing on the monthly charts. And the previous two such kind of patterns have resulted into a rally of at least 20% to 30% further for BHEL. So even if you have a 2-month, 3-month kind of a time frame, I would expect those kind of upsides to come back for BHEL.
Okay, this one is from Ramachandran V, and he wants to know about Nelco. He wants to know if this stock is a good bet for about 3 to 4 years, Rajesh. Also, he wants to know whether he can look to add this counter at current market price. Do you track this one, Nelco?
Yes, one can add to this because one, it belongs to the Tata stable. That's the management is good. Second, the products which is used in defense, I would say, is seeing a lot of demand from government orders. So in both counts, the company is good. Even on valuation, after the kind of correction it has witnessed in the last 1 year or so, the valuations have become attractive. It's a buy from our side.
Note, we have to get into another break, but gentlemen, do stay with us, and viewers, we'll be back on the other side with all of your queries. We'll stick with the query segment, so do stay tuned.
Is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or white. It very much seems to be a work in progress of triumphs and mistakes, greed and fear. And I bring you that story behind the numbers in action.
The personal finance show that helps you achieve all your financial dreams.
This show gets you everything that you need to know about your money, how to earn more, invest smartly, and spend while getting the best bang for your buck.
From the perfect home to early retirement and everything in between.
Real estate, everyone knows, is an asset that Indians absolutely love, maybe even more than gold.
Join us every weekday at 5 p.m. on the ET Money Show. Investment made easy, only on ET Now.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
Nikunj, you are a very seasoned market observer, and therefore you may hit the nail on the head.
I think you have always kept the focus on the retail investor, and I think it's again a very apt, very good question.
Nikunj, first of all, thank you so much. You are one person I've always enjoyed interacting throughout last 15-20 years.
You know, the problem on coming on your channel is that you already know everything. I just heard your introduction. And what can anybody add to that?
Stock markets is a numbers game, and it sometimes does come across as one-dimensional. But what people don't see is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or white. It very much seems to be a work in progress of triumphs and mistakes, greed and fear. And I bring you that story behind the numbers in action.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and we're in the midst of the query segment. Rajesh as well as Kunal are answering your questions. We've got Anand who's writing in and who's asking about Rural Electrification Corporation, or REC, and he's asking whether it can be bought, Rajesh, for the at the current levels for the medium to long term, considering their dividend payout records. He can put in as much as 1 lakh of rupees into this stock. He's asking whether he should. Rajesh, this one's for you.
To
REC, 1 lakh rupees can be invested. Anand wants to know, should he do that?
Alex, is it for me?
Yes, Rajesh. REC, rural.
Yeah. Okay. See, REC is a good bet, no doubt. Trading at a very attractive valuation, 2-3 times earnings. Dividend yield is very good, but this has been continued from a very long period of time. And by long period of time, I would say from years, this is the case. The stock doesn't move at all. So if you are happy with the dividend part and the valuation part, it's a good buy. It can be considered as a bank savings account or a FD. Otherwise, for capital appreciation, I think one should have go for better choices. In a power sector also, we have better choices like Tata Power or a CESC, which can give good capital appreciation.
All right. Kunal, this one is not a stock-specific query that I have for you, but Amy wants to know, should one look at linear charts or log charts?
So I think both the charts typically are one and the same, but the only adjustment which you have to do is when you look out for more long-term trends. See, because frankly on an hourly basis, on a daily chart, it doesn't change much because there's hardly any major tweak in terms of the price trends. But when you're looking at it from a long-term play, so for example, if you're looking at Dow Jones charts from the 1900s, then when Dow Jones was almost at 30-40 at that point of time, and now when you're trying to compare the charts with 30-40,000, those levels of 30 to 40, when the Dow moves into those kind of zones, they become very small in terms of charts. So I think over there you have to look out for log scales. But then when you're looking at a shorter term time frame, it's absolutely fine that you stick to maybe a linear scale on charts. So it all depends on which time frame you are looking out for.
Okay, fair enough. We've got Bala who's writing in and asking about Timkin India, already holding at levels of 2,500 per share. Kunal, this one's for you. Would you suggest holding on to this?
Yes, I would suggest a hold on Timkin India.
What levels would you look at?
So I think the stock in last 1 month has run up exceedingly high. If I'm not wrong, it shot up from 2,200 to 3,000 odd levels. Currently also the stock is trading just above the 3,000 mark. So I would suggest a hold, and possibly if this move continues for Timkin India, which could be the 4th successive month, then we can look out for maybe 3,180 as a target.
Okay. This one is coming in from Kastub, and he wants a short-term view on Bosch. He's already purchased it at a price of 13,800 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold or sell, Kunal.
I would suggest a hold. In fact, Bosch on the charts is actually forming an inverted head and shoulder pattern, and the stock I think has confirmed a breakout on the monthly basis. So we'll have to wait out for, of course, the remainder of the month. But then if this pattern sustains for Bosch, then we could be looking at a big turnaround, something like what we've not seen even from 2020 lows for the stock price. So I would suggest a hold.
Okay, wow, interesting question. Sandeep Kumar from Tirupur is saying Vanakkam to all viewers, and he's also saying that he's bought NMDC at levels of 131.5 and Sun Pharma at levels of 912.5, and he's planning to hold it for a very long term. In terms of time frame, he's saying till his daughter Jnanavi becomes 18 years old. She's currently 1.5 years old. And so therefore, he's asking whether to hold on to this. Rajesh, what's the view? This is now looking at a 16.5-year view.
For a 16.5-year view for a mid-cap stocks is quite a difficult task, but I would say both of them look good at valuation at this point of time. NMDC has corrected quite a lot. Sun Pharma has not performed, and both are going to perform the next 1 or 2 years. I would say you can hold these stocks, but keep reviewing the performance. Every quarter we have results and all those of announcement. Keep a review of all your investments, and you can continue to hold. The fundamentals are sound.
Okay, this one is coming from Sudarshan MR, and he wants a view on Havells, Kunal. He's saying, can call options be sold at 1,400?
So the stock is I think at 1,300 levels. I'm assuming that you're saying that you want to go short on Havells with a 1,400 call option. I would say it's a bit dicey because the stock is at a breakout point on one hand, so possibly that the momentum should continue for Havells, say at least towards 1350 mark, 1350, 1360. So I see another 50 to 60 points on the upside over the very near term, but I also believe that possibly 1,400 may not be taken out this month itself. So it may be a good strategy, but I believe the timing may not be the best. So if you can probably wait out for the stock to come back towards 1350 mark, approximately, that could be a point where you can look to initiate this short on call trade for Havells.
Okay. Another one coming your way, Kunal. This one's on Bharti Airtel. We've got Yatindran who's writing in. Got a 700 call option, or rather a call option at 700 strike, and asking what his strategy should be. I think this is August series. Yes.
So 700 in fact was the high the stock made yesterday, and I think today also 703 is where the stock made a high, and then from there it's retraced on the downside. So this indicates that the stock may not break past about that 700 mark pretty soon. So it will probably try and consolidate over here. So what could happen is if the stock consolidates or drops down further, say another 10 rupees on the downside, the premium for the options on the 700 call option would start to get eroded much quickly. So purely in that sense, I would suggest maybe a an exit at current levels, and assuming if the stock comes closer to 675 odd mark, that could be a point where you can look to reinitiate a buy on the call option.
Okay, this one is from Abhishek, and is Garware High-Tech Films a good one to add in the portfolio for the longer term, is what he's asking Rajesh. Or if not this company, then which is the other better option available in the packaging sector?
See, I would say one should avoid Garware at this point of time. I don't think there is any very good future for a very long period of time. In the packaging sector, I can give 2-3 names, like one is Huhtamaki Paper, the other one is Polyplex, which is doling out dividends every quarter. The numbers have been good. The promoters have shown an intention to sell out their stake. Their overseas subsidiaries is doing well. I think Polyplex would be the first choice, Huhtamaki Paper the second choice.
Okay. Rakesh has asked a view on a number of stocks. I believe we've already had an extensive conversation on ITC earlier in the program, so I will take a couple of others. So State Bank of India is one of the counters that he's holding, Rajesh, at levels of 403, and he's also got SBI cards, which he's bought at levels of 897. Would you suggest that he can average his cost price at these levels?
Yes, of course. If you have a time horizon of 18 to 24 months, both are very good buy at these levels. One, State Bank has got a lot of value in his subsidiaries. The numbers are due on Saturday, I suppose, Friday or Saturday. SBI card again has given good numbers. The number of additions to their credit card is going up due to their parentage. NPAs have gone down. Spends are going up because of unlock and all. I think both of them are a very good play.
From those banks, moving to some mid-cap banks in Kunal, and Rajan has a query. He wants to buy mid-cap banks, so he wants to know whether he should go for IDFC First Bank or DCP Bank for the short term.
Well, I'll probably add to your confusion and also suggest Canara Bank and Federal Bank. I think these are the two other names which you can look to add. So I'm bullish on the mid-cap banking names specifically. I think spoiled for choice, but then if you can probably try and allocate maybe 2-3 of the top 4 names, that would be a better way to try and allocate.
All right. We've got Dr. Sudhanshu who's writing in and holding some some shares of Poonawalla Finance at an average price of 255. The question is, and this one I guess is for you, Kunal, how long to hold this, waiting to for it to cross 300 is what he's saying.
So I think the stock should do substantially good for itself, not just cross 300, but I think go beyond that as well. I believe some sort of a patience is required over here. So there are 2 important points over here. One is that the stock has established a good support at the 220 mark. Over the last, I think, 7-8 months, 2022, the stock has tried to test the 220 levels, and I think 3-4 times the stock has managed to bounce back from those levels. So that's a important support being established for Poonawalla Fincorp. And from a longer term play, when I look at it, the stock has had 2 very sharp and vicious periods of corrections for itself, and it's managed to absorb them and still move up higher. So I think on both those attempts, it looks like that the stock is consolidating, getting to volatile phase, but then a breakout would emerge pretty soon for the stock. I would suggest a hold.
Okay, I have a query coming in from Karthik on Infoedge, and he wants to know if he can get a technical view on Infoedge for the long term. But he wants to know if it's a good buy at current market price. What's your take on this one, Kunal?
Well, I think it's a very good buy at current levels. So I understand that the stock has corrected from 7,500, 400 to almost 3,500 or slightly lower than that it was a month back. Now the stock is getting to a recovery from 3,500 below 3,500. It's now almost at 4,400, 4,500 for itself. So it's getting to a recovery phase. Still a lot of recovery yet to pan out for Infoedge from a longer term play. So I would suggest a hold or a buy at current levels.
Okay. We've got a question for a technical view on 3M India, and this one's for you, Kunal. Buy price is 19,250. Sani wants to know, should he book out? Should he add at this point? What should he do?
Well, I think 3M India is a stock which I think is much better suited from a long term play. I'm not sure of the short-term trends. The only concern which I have with 3M India and such stocks is the extreme low amount of liquidity. So, for example, even on a day like today, the stock has shown some average volume of just 1,500, 1,600 shares on NSE. So that makes the counter very, very illiquid. I would give it a pass.
All right. Kunal, Rajesh, there are two of our viewers who've asked a view on Adani Transmission. One is from Sagar. He wants a fundamental view on Adani Transmission. He's bought about 6,200 share at a price of around 450 to 480 rupees per share. He's saying the stock is making very good return. It's pretty comfortable with it despite crazy valuations for the company. Do you think the results will back up the counter, and does it make sense for him to stay put with Adani Transmission? While you have Manish Raju also wants to know what's your view on this one. He has 45 shares with 25% profit that he's making. So what should he do? Should he hold or book profits?
Book profits, because as you said, crazy valuations. So on valuation parameters, I won't suggest keeping these stocks in portfolio. I would say if you're in profit, book profit. Or if somebody is take high risk, or somebody is having very high risk appetite, one can continue long, but with a strict stop loss of 5 to 7% from the current market price.
Gentlemen, it's time to start the rapid fire segment, and you both know what the drill is, so I'm going to get started right away. We've got Danish who's asking about IRFC and asking whether it can be purchased for the long term at the current point. Rajesh, what's the view?
Would be a better bet.
Which would be a better bet, sorry?
IRCTC.
Okay.
Okay, Jai Krishnan from Kerala is asking about Godrej Properties. Kunal, 1,900 rupees is the buy price. Should I hold, sell or average, and if average, at what levels?
You can look to average, but I think closer to 1350 could be a good point where you can look to average.
L&T Finance Holding is the name of the counter. Chandramouli from Chennai wants to know average price of 85 for 2 years. Can it be held? Kunal?
I would suggest a hold. In fact, closer to 72 levels is where you should look to definitely average.
Okay, Indumati wants an entry and exit level for GSFC for the short-term trading, Kunal.
So GSFC, I think closer to 162 could be a very good zone where you can look to buy. Targets could be kept at closer to 198 for GSFC.
Shrinu from Vijayawada wants to know about Nalco. Bought at levels of 120. Hold, add or sell, Kunal?
Not to add at current levels, just hold your existing quantity as of now.
Okay, Anup Bora also wants a short-term target for IndusInd Bank. He's bought it at 1,170, Kunal.
1,170, then I would believe that you should look to hold on, possibly average closer to 1,020.
Maruti Suzuki, Rajesh, this one's for you. Would you hold on if you're making 15% on the holding? We've got a question from Vivek.
It's a buy from our side. The numbers have been pretty good. Future also looks very bright. So if you don't need money, hold.
Talking about Alex's favorite tongue twister, Sumitomo Chemicals, Sangeeta is asking whether she can buy it for a 2 to 3 year time frame. What's your take on this, Rajesh?
Buy. It's a buy.
Okay. Sudesh from Cochin is asking about Voltas for the long term. What's the view, Rajesh?
One can add with a target of around 1,250, 1,300 in the next 6 to 9 months.
Okay, Devi Das wants to know whether it can add KPIT Tech at current market price. Kunal, this one is for you, but wants to hold it for 3 years.
Well, not at current price, but I think closer to the previous low, which is around 480 mark, would be a good point where you can look to average.
Okay, bonus question, Nazara Tech, can it be average at the current price for the long term? Bought at levels of 1,224. Harish wants to know. Rajesh?
I don't think it's a good idea to add at this point of time. One can wait for more corrections to come.
Okay.
Good try that one, Alex, with the bonus question. But with that, we come to the end of the query segment and the rapid fire. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Rajesh, for talking about ITC, how it is still a buy for both of you all. And also, thank you for taking the viewer queries. And viewers, we will be back tomorrow. But for now, we're slipping into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर
The personal finance show that helps you achieve all your financial dreams.
This show gets you everything that you need to know about your money, how to earn more, invest smartly, and spend while getting the best bang for your buck.
From the perfect home to early retirement and everything in between.
Real estate, everyone knows, is an asset that Indians absolutely love. Maybe even more than gold.